Hey guys, what's going on? Paul here. Welcome back to another Cardano video. Huge updates on the Cardano front today. Just for people who followed the channel here, I know I haven't been doing regular videos lately, doing the odd video here and there, just a huge amount of other things going on that I will talk about towards the end of the video for people interested in that side. But on the Cardano front, last week we seen an attack that maybe wasn't an attack on the network, where the chain forked, eventually came back, SPOs were updating nodes. I can do a deep dive into that at some point if people are interested in it. We'll touch on parts of it here, but potentially that has been a spark for something very good for Cardano. It was a really bad day when it happened, but all of the entities jumped into what they're calling the war room together, video calls, everything, working out the solutions to get Cardano back to where it should be. The chain never, technically it never went down. There was a bad transaction submitted. One set of nodes wouldn't accept it, so the chain forked, and then there was two versions running eventually with Ouroboros. When enough of SPOs updated to the patched version, it all came back together within, I don't know, was it 12 to 16 hours, something like that. I'll do a deep dive on that at some point, but that has been the spark for potentially something that's very good for Cardano. Now look, we have to wait and see, but it sparked this call here, which, as you can see, if you recognize a lot of the people in it, you have Charles, you have EMURGO, you have the Midnight Foundation, Fred from CF, Jack from Intersect, and from the Midnight Foundation as well. So there's a lot of big players in here that have a vested interest in driving Cardano forward. And if you followed Charles's live streams over the last while, the last few have talked a lot about unity and Cardano coming together to essentially push forward for the good of Cardano. So instead of everyone having their individual gripes and this was their job, this was theirs, and everyone pushing the blame to someone else. Look, we all have opinions over what certain entities should have done for Cardano that wasn't done, but at this point, we just need things to get done. So this meeting happened yesterday, and then also last night, we seen a new budget proposal put forward from Intersect. And it's looking for 70 million ADA in order to put towards some big infrastructure things that Cardano desperately needs to really push it forward, to let it compete. So we do really need scaling. I'm not going to shy away from that. I've talked about that a lot of times on the channel here. Leos is going to do a lot for Cardano, but we need more than just Leos. That is a different video, but this here is more on the infrastructure side. So if we look at this here, this came in from Intersect yesterday evening, 8 p.m. This was posted, and this is a joint proposal from all of the big entities: Cardano Foundation, EMURGO, Input Output, the Midnight Foundation, and Intersect, all looking to work together on this collaboration. So what is it actually going to aim to do? 5 critical pillars of growth. They're looking at finally bringing tier 1 stables to Cardano. We've heard this a few times before, but if there is this big of a treasury amount put towards it, there's going to be people held accountable for. It's not like before where there was like, it was their job, or they say it was someone else's job, and it just never happened. This is all of the entities working together. They've all had different contacts at different points, but now they're working as one unit to push forward for what Cardano needs. Tier 1 stablecoins, trusted, high liquidity, digital currency options. So they're needed for DeFi. We really do need a tier 1 stablecoin. It's, I suppose, not even tier 1 stablecoin. Yes, means that we can interconnect with other chains a lot more easily, and it's already integrated into all the different exchanges, into RWAs and everything like that. If something like USDA or USDM had enough of liquidity, it could do a lot of what these are going to do. But tier 1 stablecoins open up a lot more doors rather than just having the liquidity to be traded. Institutional custody and wallets. Now this does link in with what Navjeet has been talking about. I don't know if I still have... Yeah, so Navjeet here has been working on Fireblocks integration. This is through Igon. They've been working trying to get an integration for Cardano native assets for Fireblocks. You will remember there was a partnership there with Midnight and Fireblocks, but that was just for, I think, the Night token and airdrops. But this will be for all native assets, which is needed by a lot of the big custody solutions, exchanges like Revolut, Binance. they need Fireblocks for the integration. So he's asking here, would this actually be included? Because Igon were stepping up to pay for that. So potentially they mightn't have to pay for it. We haven't seen it yet. On-chain analytics, cross-chain bridges, globally recognized pricing oracles. It doesn't mention it here, but is this going to be Chainlink? I do hope it is going to be Chainlink. I know we have our homegrown oracles like Charlie 3 and OrcFax, which is brilliant to have. But Chainlink, again, it's like the stablecoin thing. It's not that it's just to have that functionality. It's the doors that opens, the connections that them entities already have, and it opens up all them possibilities for Cardano. You look at what Chainlink are doing, and a lot of the integrations that are happening over there, if a chain doesn't have Chainlink right now, a lot of the big banks or RWAs that are looking to get involved, it's just not happening with Cardano because we don't have that cross-chain functionality that comes with what Chainlink offers. So it's not just Oracle prices, it does bring a lot more. This is the proposal that has gone in, and you can see here 70 million ADA allocation from the Treasury. If you do start to look around, and it mentions there all the entities that are going to be involved in this, but if you look around, and a lot of people are saying that this isn't going to be anywhere near the amount that's needed for bringing everything that they're talking about bringing. You can see Rand here has said basically the same, but it's seeing all the entities come together to move forward. It's amazing to step in the right direction for our ecosystem. Lots of talk that the entities are going to pay the overhead on this, that whatever extra is due, you'll have people will say, of course they should. And I won't disagree with that. I would like to see all the entities, or the founding entities, putting funds in towards this as well. So anything over the 70 million should be covered. What I'm waiting to see is, do we get a detailed breakdown of everything that they're looking for here? One thing about this is there will be NDAs. So a lot of these big entities, they don't want to talk about what it costs to integrate them. I don't mean the Cardano ones. I mean what the solutions that they're trying to integrate through this proposal. A lot of them work under NDAs in terms of costs of what it's going to cost to bring them to Cardano. So we might not get the true figures here, but it would be good to see a list of everything that they're going after. It mightn't be able to come straight away due to them NDAs and only being able to be announced when integrations are ready. But one of the biggest things on this for me is to see all of the entities finally getting along. It's strange we shouldn't have come to this point where we celebrate this, but if you've been in the Cardano ecosystem for as long as I have, which is late 2017, 2018, there's been a lot of infighting between the different entities there. They get along for a while, they fall out. This time, I think everybody feared the worst last Friday when the issues appeared on chain and nobody knew exactly what it was, but all the entities came together and started working together really quickly to get a solution. And they realized that, okay, if we can do this so quickly, everything gets back to normal for the blockchain, then what else can they do for Cardano when they all push together? And with Midnight is very dependent on Cardano, especially when it launches first. So there's a big drive from that side as well, that Cardano has to be stable, has to have these integrations because the Night token will be a Cardano native asset. So there's a lot of push from that side too to really make these kind of things happen. So maybe we'll talk a little bit more about this later, but if you look at the actual proposal, let's refresh it here and see how it's looking. So this is probably the fastest. Why is it not refreshing for me? The fastest that I've ever seen a proposal reach these kind of levels. So we're up at 43% yes votes already, no votes on this. And you can see votes are just constantly coming in. They are looking to really push this through very quickly. Now, one thing that is missing is we are missing a member on the CC committee because the Atlantic Council has retired, and there has to be one more member added to that before the Treasury withdrawal can be approved. So this has to be approved first, then it goes to the Treasury withdrawal, but on the withdrawal, then we need the other CC member to be in. That's happening right now with Snap election. So make sure everybody gets involved. If you're a D-Rep, get in, give your opinion, get your vote in on this. Maybe you don't agree on the amount being so high. At this point, I think Cardano needs action quick, and if this is what it takes, then I'm all for it. I would give the yes on this. I'm not a registered DREP, but that would be my opinion. Back to what happened last week. Pi put together this article here about the whole process, what happened, both high level and technical, on what happened with Cardano, how the chain forked for a while and eventually came back, and everything came back running perfectly fine with Ouroboros, and when there was enough nodes on the same version, everything was good again. So I will leave a link to this article for people who want to dive into it. Maybe I'll do a video on that one, but that is kind of separate. Another one, Midnight, I will do a dedicated video on Midnight next week. The Night token is launching on December 8th. So if you were involved in the Glacier airdrop or the scavenger mine, you potentially can claim on the 8th. We haven't got all the details yet, but that's when the thaw phase starts, which is the redeem. And the way that that works, is it here? Yeah, so there's 4 different phases. Your tokens could start to thaw on day 1 or anywhere up to day 90. And then after that, what happens is, whatever your day is, 90 days after that, you get the next 25% and so on like that. So I'm hoping I have a few different wallets. I've done it on purpose. I have some smaller wallets that I will be able to check all of them initially, and hopefully at least one of them might be available on the first day or the first few days, so I can go through the process and record videos of how to actually redeem them and what you can do then. The Midnight Summit happened. There was a lot of information mentioned there, so maybe I'll do a full summary video on that, the different phases. There's a lot of things coming for Midnight, which inevitably will be very good for Cardano. They're not as separated as a lot of people actually think there. I think that is kind of it. Just going back to what I said in the beginning, I am going to try and get back to more regular videos. Huge amount of things going on the last, I suppose, weeks, months, even outside of crypto for myself personally, and just the time that I had here working. Probably put more time in at the desk in the last weeks than any time ever, with building the bots for the scavenger mine, putting support and a few things in there, and a few other projects that myself and Paddy are working on. So I just wasn't able to prioritize getting in front of the camera, but I will try and get back to some more regular scheduled videos, and people waiting on replies from me over the weekend. I'm going to start trying to work through my email inbox and through my DMs and stuff like that, because they've been building up as well. So apologies to anyone waiting on a delayed response there, but in the groups I have been fairly active in there, trying to provide support on the different tools and things that we have built. And hopefully if there was anything urgent, you were in the Discord or Telegram or wherever it was and got the updates there. Thanks for watching, guys. Appreciate everyone tuning in. Give the video a share, like, comment, questions, or anything just to help with the algorithm, because I haven't been active. It needs all the help it can get. Thanks for watching. Talk soon.